we can become partners with the home, and it's right almost in our backyard. But anyway, so we're now planning some activities, seeing if it's possible that we can get our youth group out there maybe next summer and do a project. So more about that as it develops. But for right now, I want to introduce you to Norman Atchison from Manuelito, Navajo. Sorry about that.
It's nice to be here this morning. I'd like to welcome you to New Mexico, land of enchantment, where the sunsets are beautiful. This picture I took out one evening from my front door. I was taking our little dog out for a walk, and I saw this beautiful sunset, and I was going, wow, I'll use that in my presentations. And this is from New Mexico, and if you want to see a beautiful sunset, okay, come out and I'll show you a beautiful sunset. Gallup is located near the Navajo Reservation. The Navajo Reservation covers 27,000 square miles. It's the largest Native American reservation in the United States. The unemployment rate on the reservation is one of the highest in the United States. The poverty on the reservation is one of the highest in the United States. As you can see up on the screen, the unemployment is not very high for a family of four. It's like 40% of men and 20% of women are in alcohol programs somewhere. Alcohol is very high on the reservation. The other problems we have on the reservation still today is water source. The electricity is also a problem on the reservation. But the Navajo is a very proud people. Their culture is very strong. The children's home actually started as a Navajo mission on the reservation. There was two congregations that oversaw this mission. One was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the other one was in Farmington, New Mexico. And both towns are probably about 2.5 hours from Gallup. Well, the people that oversaw the mission, they couldn't see and take care of the mission like it needed to be taken care of. So they asked the Gallup Church of Christ to take over the work. Well, Gallup agreed and took over this work. There was two cinder block buildings there. One was a chapel. The other one was just a storage shed that they put clothes and stuff in. Well, back then, the poverty was just as bad as it is today. The children weren't getting taken care of. So they saw this mission there. They started dropping their children off. Well, when Gallup took over this mission, they saw the need of the children. So they turned this mission into what we have today, Manuelito Navajo Children's Home. They took the chapel, they built the living room, the kitchen into that building. They took the other building, they built 3 rooms. One was for the boys and one was for the girls, and the house parents lived in the middle. This is Bernie and Noreen Atchison. This is my foster parent, as Ken was saying. I grew up on a reservation. My dad was superintendent there. My dad was actually a master plumber in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And the gentleman that ran the children's home back then, he knew my dad. So he sent a letter, or I can't remember if they sent the letter or called, but he said, I need house parents. Can you come and help? Well, Dad agreed, and he took off work for about a year, and they went out to the children's home to help out. Well, the problem was, Mom fell in love with the kids, and they decided to stay. Well, the gentleman that was superintendent, his health was declining, so they asked my dad to become the superintendent of the children's home, and he ran the children's home for about 25 years. This is actually pictures from the children's home on the reservation. you can see the smile on the kids' faces. They have food. They have clothes. They have somebody that cares. This is me. I'm the cutest one at the bottom. There were 6 of us in my family that grew up in the children's home. My mom and dad were alcoholics, and my aunt got my dad to put us in the children's home. And so we all grew up in the children's home. This is me again. When I was younger, before I was able to go to school, I used to travel with Dad, and Dad would do presentations, and Mom would stay home and take care of the kids. Well, Mom said this picture right here was my first time in Texas, and some of the ladies at the church grew a liking to me, so they went and bought my first pair of boots, and I still wear them today. Not those boots. My wife actually let me buy a pair of brand new boots. We used to go to the Tulsa lectureship a lot, and this is my foster brother, and it was raining that year, so Mom put us up on the display, the kids, because we were fixing to go to a speaking dinner for all the displayers, and so Mom put us up on display, and the gentleman got up to talk, and he looked down at my dad. He said, "Mr. Atchison, I liked your live display that you brought this year." The children's home out on the reservation was on probably about 4 or 5 acres. It wasn't very big, and we were growing. So Dad started hunting for some property, and he found this property here. It's probably about 15 miles out of Gallup, west of Gallup. And he talked to the gentleman, and he said, "Can I buy this property?" And the gentleman said, "Yes, but the problem is I need the money in about 3 months." Well, Dad hit the road off and on. Mom stayed home, took care of the kids. And on Dad's last journey from his trip, he stopped at this congregation, and a gentleman was doing yard work. My dad went and talked to him, and he said, "Sorry, Mr. Atchison, but we can't help you out. We're fixing to pave our parking lot." Well, he gave him his information and told him what he wanted and where he was staying. So he went back to the hotel, and a couple of hours later, the gentleman called my dad back and said, "Would you mind coming back to the church? The elders would like to meet you." So my dad went back down to the church to talk to the elders, and when my dad left, he had the rest of the money to buy this property. And now the children's home sits on 40 acres. It's amazing what God can do when you let Him help you out. Now I'd like to welcome you to Manuelito Navajo Children's Home. This is Jim Christian, our superintendent, and his family. This is Cottage 1 and Cottage 2. They were built in 1960. They started in 1963, and we were able to move into both cottages in the summer of '64. We had a gentleman that my dad talked to about building cottages, and he said, "Mr. Atchison, if you will raise the money to build the first cottage, I will build the second cottage for you." So we were able to move into both cottages in the summer of '64. This is Terry Lawrence. He is our relief house parent. He is also a preacher on the Navajo reservation, but we do not have relief house parents at this time. As I was saying last night to some people, that we are in very need of house parents and relief house parents. There's only 2 sets of house parents right now, me and my wife, and John and Tina. One time we had 3 houses going with a set of relief house parents. So it's very hard for us to get time off when we don't have help at this time. But Terry, he preaches over on the reservation, and he's offered to come over and help. So this week is actually mine and Kathy's time off away from the kids. And so they go over to Terry's house, and he takes care of him. He's actually in Cottage 2. Cottage 3 was built in 1966. This is John and Tina, and they take care of the girls. This is Cottage 5. This is where me and Kathy live, and we have 3 boys in our cottage. As I said, me and Kathy are house parents at this time, but we also do public relations for the children's home. This is Monica. She's lives with us. And these people, Ken and Roxanne, are very dear to our hearts. We met them in California. They become very good friends of ours. And so they have offered to help. Since we are short-handed, that me and Kathy are house parents, they have offered to help to go out and do updates for that congregation that already support the home, but they want an update that I can't get to, so they get to go out and they go there and do the updates for me. We have a shop on campus. We have a wood shop and auto mechanic shop. We have a maintenance man that comes in and helps out at the cottages. And then we have a young lady that works in the maintenance department as well. And she grew up in the children's home. She's graduated, and so we have a program where we can try to help the kids to advance and try to get used to the real world. This little building out in front is where we have our lawn mowers and weed eaters and stuff like that, but the thing is, we don't get to mow grass. We mow our weeds, and I promise you, if we don't mow our weeds, they get about this high. But that long building in the back is our pantry and our clothing room. We have a pantry there that we have a lot of donations that come through that we're able to keep food on campus, but we also make a grocery list that we send to the Jim, and he signs that we're able to go into town to get the groceries that we do not have in the pantry. When me and Kathy first started PR public relations, we'd never done this before, so we were talking and we were going, where do we start? What do we do? So we were in the pantry so she could get some groceries, and we said, this is a great place to start. So we started talking, and we got churches involved. And as you can see, we get a lot of donations that help us to keep our pantry full. As I say, we have clothing room. We have a lot of people that donate clothes. And we have a young lady that goes over there and separates the clothes from the boys and the girls' side. During COVID was the hardest time for the children's home, because like everybody was shut down, can't really go to town and get things. So it was really hard for us, but we had a lot of people. We put a grocery list in the newspaper, and we had a lot of people. Our community stepped up and brought out a lot of groceries to help us. Plus the Navajo reservation, the vice president came out, and they brought a lot of water and groceries as themselves. And it really helped us out to make it through the tough times. People have been taking care of the children's home for a long time. This is my dad. Somebody donated a pickup to him so he can start doing his public relations. And then there was a gentleman that came when me and Kathy started that helped us, and they donated a pickup so we can do our public relationship. It's amazing, like I said before, it's amazing what God will do to take care of you, and especially to take care of his kids. This is a picture I kept in my presentation. This is a young man that used to live at the children's home. This was his first day at the children's home. As you can see, there's a small bag that I was carrying in my hand. And this is all that he had in his bag. A lot of these kids that we get at the children's home, they don't have anything. They don't have much. There was a family of 4 that came to the children's home, and their mom dropped off a trash bag full of clothes, and that's all they had. That was one thing about our clothing room that we're thankful for, is that we're able to take these kids that don't have nothing and take them over there and give them some of these clothes that they can wear until we can get them to town to buy them some more. We have a Christian school on campus. We also have a gymnasium on campus that we do a lot of events. We have chapel every day at our Christian school. We come to realize that it's not only our kids that are on campus that attend our Christian school. We have kids that come from town that come to our Christian school. What about their souls? So we start doing chapel, and we start helping other families as well to know more about Christ. As I said, our gymnasium, we do a lot of things in our gymnasium. We do a banquet. Kathy sets a banquet up for our kids every year, and our kids go over to the gym and they get to decorate it. And this past year was under the big top. And all the kids got involved, and they were able to get over there and do a lot of decorations. And it was just like a big old circus. They got to paint pictures. They made a big old Ferris wheel and stuff like that, and it was real fun. And we had a lot of games that they could play. We try to keep our kids busy as well, doing different things. 4-H is one of them. We have a young lady that comes out from the 4-H to do different projects with our kids. Our works are never done. We're always busy. From the time we wake up until the time the kids go to bed, we're always busy. There's always a need. One of these kids always have a need for something. As I said, this is Monica. We've had her since she was right before her second birthday. She just turned 17 a couple of days ago. My mother and my father left me, but the Lord took me in and made me His. When she came to the children's home, her mom signed her in, filled out the paperwork, and the superintendent always asked these families, what do you need? What can we help you with? She turned around and looked at Jim, and she said, she's in my way. How can you say that this beautiful thing is in your way? Can you look at your kids or your grandkids and say that they're in your way? Monica is graduating now. She has a job. She's going to college. And she wants to go to AIM in Lubbock. That's her big goal, is she wants to go into the mission work. This is our board members that run the children's home. We have a lot of things that go on at the children's home that we need help with. A couple of years ago, maybe it's been a little bit longer than that, we had our well to go out. We have a well on campus, and we had to, Kathy knows a lot of people, and we got online and started talking to a lot of our Christian friends, and we need help. Our well just went out. We need help with funds. And it was amazing how strong the Christian family can be. They came together, and we were able to re-drill another well so we could have water on campus. But the thing is when the pipes and stuff have been in the ground for over 60 years, you have your problems. So we've been having a lot of our problems of finding leaks and stuff as well. In the summertime, we get busy. we get a lot of youth groups that come out and do different projects for the home. It's projects that we can't do during the wintertime. So we have different youth groups that come out and help. This is one of our youth groups that come out to help us. Before we had about 4 or 5 during the summertime that come out and help. This year, with a lot of problems going on, we've only had about 3 that were able to come out to help. We had about 5 scheduled, but we only had about 3 that were able to come out and help. We take our kids to LTC in Phoenix every year. All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, to go make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them. There's that key word, teaching them. It doesn't say teach to the elderly. It doesn't say teach to the young people. It says teaching them. Who are them? Right here. We are them. Our kids are them. And we hope that one day that they can be part of our Christian family. God has a plan for all of us, each and every one of us. We don't know what it is, but God has a plan for us. This right here is some of the ones that have graduated from the Christian school or that have lived at the children's home, that have come back to work for the home. We love our job, but it can be tiring, I promise you. This is Dylan. Dylan grew up in the children's home. We are very proud of him. This is one of those stories that make you feel warm inside because you felt like you've accomplished something raising these kids. Dylan grew up in the children's home, and now he works for the Gallup Police Department. This is our graduate of 23. Jessie, I know you guys have her on your prayer list. She is cancer-free. Isn't that amazing? She is cancer-free, and we appreciate you guys keeping her on your prayer list. And let's see, Monica and Jimmy is Jim and Christian's daughter. And then Ethan, he's over in Albuquerque, and I believe he's has a job working. We have different things that we do to try to raise money for the children's home. We have a 5K that we do every year to raise money in town, and we try to get our community to come out and help. But our biggest fundraising that we do every year is the championship bull riding. We have a couple of groups that come out and help with the bull ride, and it's one of our biggest fundraising. We do the parking lot. We also do the concession stand, and the funds that we get from both goes to the children's home. Just getting to know these kids and being able to get them involved. It's not about us, it's about these kids, helping them to grow and to know Christ. This is some of the ways that you can help with the children's home. We have a display out here with a lot of brochures on them. We'd love for you to come by and get one. We have our newest newsletter out there, and inside the newsletter is a grocery list. Right now we are in need of groceries. Our pantry is going down the way that prices are going up, so we are in need of groceries, and it is in the middle of the newsletter. So we'd love for you to come out there and pick one up, and we'd love to answer questions if you have any out there. We are not supported by the state of any means. The state does come out and check the children's home and make sure that the kids are taken care of, but we do not get any funds from the state. All the funds we get are from individuals as yourself or as congregations as yourself. What I do today, I do for my mom and dad. They're the ones that put me where I'm at today. So what I do today, I honor them in doing this for them. But I'd like to thank you for this morning, and thank you for letting me be here to give you a little bit about the children's home. It's like I was telling some people last night, I can sit here or talk to you all day about the children's home, but until you come out and see the work that we do, it gives you a different feeling. So I invite each and every one of you to come out and see the work that we do. And I thank you very much.
We have just a few minutes if there's any questions somebody would like to ask now about the children's home, and the guy with all the answers is here. So, yes, Rick. So, how many houses are in use right now?
We have 2 houses that are in use right now. We can use up to 4 houses, but we have 2 right now.
Okay, anybody else have questions? No, you guys are quiet. So in our experience with the children's home over the past, 15 or so years, we've noticed that it looks like a few kids, but that number changes and changes quite frequently. Some kids leave the home, they choose to go back to their families, they're maybe demanded to go back to their families, and the other kids come in to replace them. And where they have a real issue now, and Norman mentioned it, is that the house parents. Now, granted, not everybody can be a house parent. I certainly couldn't, I don't think, but there are issues where house parents, in order to get that, it takes a very special personality. It's a lot of hard work. They live on campus and they're there 24/7. So they typically work a schedule like 3 weeks on and 1 week off of the month. So you're bringing in a family. And that the issue now is, since COVID, that it's a universal issue with the children's homes around the United States. They can't get house parents. And so that's why Norman and Kathy have been filling that role at their place. So now house parents, with the rules of the state, you got to have so many house parents per kids, a number of kids. And so they're limited now on how many they can bring in. And I've heard stories, Norman, correct me if I'm wrong, but the state has actually told the school that they could place 100 kids with Manuelito right now. There's that kind of a need there in the Navajo reservation. So, and we'll get to that in a minute, but anyway, so there's a huge need, and so anything that we can do, this list, there's a ton of things on there that they need. There are supplies, there are food staples, there are cleaning supplies, things like that. It worked out a really good system where you can if you shop with Walmart or something, or even go online, they'll deliver it right to the home. And they used to bring a big trailer with them, and they would go to different congregations that would supply peanut butter, that would supply chili or soup or things, just different items. And what they did is they'd pack all that trailer. Well, that gets cost prohibitive, right? So it's a lot of manpower. So if they can get it right to the school, that's that much better. But anyway, so I would ask that you consider that as an option. Please don't feel you have to buy everything on that list, because that's a lot. But they do need help, and they get tremendous help from the local community, which Roxanne and I were very pleased to see. The other way that was on his presentation, I don't know if you caught it or not, but you saw that circle of homes that they had. And the idea is that they're trying to build a second circle identical to the first one. They've already got the blueprints and things like that, and they've cleared the land for it, but that second circle is coming up in the next few years. They're trying to get that rolling. So once they get the funding built up enough where they can start construction, you're going to start seeing an identical circle there, which will then hopefully by then they'll have the house parent situation taken care of, and they'll be able to start bringing in more kids. So very important work. These kids that have grown up there that we've been associated with, phenomenal, just phenomenal. We first start going there, and none of the kids would talk to you. They're very shy. They don't know who you are and what your purpose is, and seems like everybody's trying to work an angle, and these kids are trying to figure that out. But the more you hang around with them, the more they just love you, and you can't help but love them back. So anyway, we wanted to bring this to you, let you know what good things are happening here at Crossway, and we've got maybe a minute left. Oh, we've got coin cans out there. You'll see cans on the table out there. Feel free to pick one of those up and drop your change in it, and then when you fill it up, we'll send it to Manuelito, Navajo Children's Home, and they can use that too. That's been a very effective program. They've got sponsoring a kid, where you can take an actual kid and say, I want to sponsor this person for the year. You won't be the only one bearing that load, but there's people around the country who do that. So that's a good option too. What am I forgetting, Norman? That's it? Okay. Yeah, so it's a great question. So when youth groups come and do the projects that Norman talked about, Jim, the superintendent of the home, Jim Christian, will he gets a list from all the cottages and the shops, and he'll say, what do you guys need? What do you see coming up in the next year or so? So then he takes that list, and the smaller ones, they're not going to ask you to build a full building or, drive a big cat bulldozer or anything like that. So what they'll do is they'll say, we need painting done. This cottage needs to be repainted. We might need to lay a concrete sidewalk, something like that. Usually pretty small weekend jobs for most of us, but they'll try to match that with the congregation who has those skills. Electricians, switches and things go out, so they'll try to do that and set them up. And so one of the things we'd like to do is get our youth group thinking in terms of maybe next summer we can send a bunch out there, teach the kids how to have some skills that they'll use for the rest of their lives. They'll get to see how the kids grow up at the home and see how different life is, and hopefully make your lives easier as parents, because they'll understand some of the reasons why you want them to do certain things, right? And they'll see that in action, and they'll see that these kids don't have that love and discipline behind them, except for the home. And so they'll come out and do painting projects. They'll light carpentry stuff. They've got a greenhouse that a group came out and helped build. It's a beautiful greenhouse. I was really shocked at how well that's turning out. but that's so they can grow their own produce. And so it helps and teaches the kids how to grow food. It doesn't always come from the store, right? So, but anyway, so that's kind of the projects that they'll do. They'll match it to the skill sets that are coming, and then the congregation will sponsor the materials for that. Some bring it with them. Others will go to the Home Depot or Walmart that's in town there and pick up the supplies. So, wonderful work. I urge you strongly to consider being involved with them. We've not regretted it at all. And the congregation is there in Gallup that's overseeing is very small, and the staffing for the work that they do is very small. So anyway, any other questions before we close out? Okay, let's close out with a prayer then. Father in heaven, we are indeed grateful to you for this time where we can learn about works that are going on to bring others to you, especially in areas that are so impoverished that they just don't get the attention, they don't get the help and the support that they need. They have limited supplies, Father. We thank you for all that the Manuelito Navajo Children's Home has done throughout the years in bringing young minds to you and trying to make founded and solid Christians, Father, that they can then carry out your word in their community. And we know that so many cases, even in the wealthiest parts of the United States here, Father, that your word is not being proclaimed, and it's showing itself in almost everywhere that we look. But Father, we ask that you would be with each one here this morning, that you would touch the hearts that would feel that they can provide a support for this work. We pray for the work itself in New Mexico, that they can find the house parents they need, and that they can bring in many, many kids. And we know that the numbers are so great, and it's such a white field of harvest. It's ready for your word, Father, and these kids so much need our help. We thank you for the opportunity to talk about them and to proclaim your word. And we thank you for your Son, who gave his life on that cross for us, that he took away our sin. He took away our anchors here on this earth. He made us free, Father, and that we know someday, once this life is over, that we'll have a home in heaven with you. And we're so grateful to you for that. We love you, and it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen. Thank you, everybody.